Hi, my name is Josh, and today in this video we will be looking at a few opening scenes to some crime gangster films to look into detail on the codes and conventions to them. So before we get started, the most common codes and conventions normally affiliated with these type of films includes the consumption of alcohol or illegal substances such as things like drugs, cigarettes, that sort of stuff. Normally the use of weapons, so you've got like guns, knives, knuckle dusters, that sort of thing. Next we have that police aren't normally too friendly with protagonists. They're kind of seen as the enemy towards them, and there's normally some sort of emphasis on the struggles and difficulties of a upbringing, perhaps, on the main character. The colours normally used in these type of films are normally very dark, so we're looking at greys, blacks, that sort of stuff, and sometimes red, because red can be linked to blood and violence. And finally, lighting is normally very low and that sort of stuff. So the first opening scene we're going to look into is Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. So the opening scene to Pulp Fiction introduces the main characters in a form of a couple having a conversation while eating at what appears to be a diner. The shots to the diner are quite wide as they show both the characters in the shot at once instead of doing a match on action shot. So the lighting is very bright and most likely real lighting, and because there is a large window behind them. The only sounds used are diegetic and in the form of background activity. This lets the audience know that they're in a busy environment, somewhere commonly affiliated with a gangster movie. So the man in the shot is smoking and seems really laid back and chilled, and also his frequent use of swearing suggests he is a rebel and possibly a criminal. The woman contrasts the man as she is sitting straight up and sounds nice and happy with no swearing used.
Forget it, it's too risky. I'm through doing that shit.
You always say that, the same thing every time. I'm through, never again, too dangerous.
I know, that's what I always say. I'm always right, too.
But you forget about it in a day or two.
Yeah, well, the days of me forgetting are over. The days of me remembering have just begun.
You know when you go on like this what you sound like?
Sound like a sensible fucking man, that's what I sound like.
Duck. Quack, 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 quack.
Yeah,
They are normal, nothing out of the ordinary that would make them stand out to other people. This goes against the conventions of this couple being possibly part of a gang, because they would normally wear something more formal like a suit or a dress. However, as their conversation continues, the audience understands that the pair aren't ordinary citizens, but instead criminals. The following scene is match on action and shows the man talking about robbing liquor stores, which could possibly be considered as quite a strong and violent topic, as they mention it perhaps being an armed robbery where killing is involved. These are clearly the intentions of what the man wants to do, or maybe something he's done in the past. This makes the woman more interested, and she starts to join in the conversation with speech. Due to the lighting and music remaining the same throughout the scene, it makes the audience believe nothing dramatic is going to happen, but instead they're just interested in what each other has to say. The man goes on to talk about robbing the diner that they are currently in. This changes the atmosphere from being rather calm and secure to making the audience unsure of what is going to happen next. The camera then begins to slowly pan around for the first time in the scene, rather than there being a fast cut. This is done to create tension and also to increase interest in the man. They are now convinced on robbing the diner that they are in right now. The woman's mood has changed from calm and friendly to quite savage. This foreshadows that they are going to rob the place for real and it's not just talk. Also, to enhance the seriousness of what they have been talking about, the man pulls out a gun. This is a common prop used in crime or gangster movies.
Restaurants, on the other hand, you catch with their pants down. They're not expecting to get robbed. Not as expecting anyway.
I bet you could cut down on the hero factor in a place like this.
Correct. Same as banks, these places are insured. Manager, you don't give a fuck. He's just trying to get you out the door before you start plugging the diners. Waitresses, fucking forget it. No way they're taking a bullet for the register. Busboys, some wetback, getting paid $1.50 an hour. Really give a fuck you're stealing from the owner? Customers sitting there with food in their mouths. They don't know what's going on. One minute they're having a Denver omelette. Next minute someone's sticking a gun in their face. See, I got the idea. The last liquor store we stuck up, remember? All the customers kept coming in.
Yeah.
You got the idea, taking their wallets. Now that was a good idea.
Thank you.
Made more from the wallets than we did from the register.
Yes, we did.
A lot of people come to restaurants.
A lot of walnuts.
Pretty smart, huh?
Pretty smart. I'm ready. Let's do it right now, right here. Come on.
Right. Same as last time, remember? Your crowd control. I handle employees.
Due to the lighting and music remaining the same throughout the scene, it makes the audience believe nothing dramatic is going to happen, but instead they're just interested in what each other has to say. The man goes on to talk about robbing the diner that they are currently in. This changes the atmosphere from being rather calm and secure to making the audience unsure of what is going to happen next. The camera then begins to slowly pan around for the first time in the scene, rather than there being a fast cut. This is done to create tension and also to increase interest in the man. They are now convinced on robbing the diner that they are in right now. The woman's mood has changed from calm and friendly to quite savage. This foreshadows that they are going to rob the place for real and it's not just talk. Also, to enhance the seriousness of what they have been talking about, the man pulls out a gun. This is a common prop used in crime or gangster movies. In the final shot, they then proceed to stand on the table that they have been sitting near, and the woman threatens to kill everyone. By her saying this, it shows her mood has changed from being calm in a short space of time. This is rather common in gangster movies, as the emotions and tones of people's voices can change very quickly, creating tension towards the audience. So now that we've looked at that one, let's look at another one. So the next one we're going to look at is the opening scene to Snatch. So Snatch starts with two men sitting at a table while a narrator describes to the audience of who these men are and their backdrop. The audience gets the understanding that these men are either antagonists or protagonists. A question is then said regarding diamonds and also mentions the location of Antwerp. This is foreshadowing the plot or an important factor of it.
My name is Turkish. Funny name for an Englishman, I know. My parents-to-be were on the same plane when it crashed. That's how they met. They named me after the name of the plane. Not many people are named after a plane crash. That's Tommy. He tells people he was named after a gun. But I know he was really named after a famous 19th century ballet dancer. I've known him for as long as I can remember. He's my partner. It doesn't mean we hold hands or take windy walks. What it really means is I try to keep him out of as much trouble as he inflicts on me. I give him a hard time, keeps him in check. But really, he's like my brother. What do I know about diamonds? I'm a boxing promoter. I was a happy boxing promoter until a week ago. And then, what do I know about diamonds? Don't they come from Antwerp?
Hayne, would you listen to this?
Do we have a choice, huh?
A lot of it wasn't meant to be taken literally. It's a nice story.
The following scene shows four men who appear to be in disguises. To help the audience, the word Antwerp is placed in bold in the middle of the screen. This notifies the audience of where the setting is and also allows them to realise the like between both of the scenes. The four men proceed to what appears to be a vault room, and the non-diegetic music begins to play. This notifies the audience that something is about to happen. The men then proceed to pull out guns while the music picks up pace, allowing the shots to be a lot faster. It creates the sense of confusion and leaves the audience wondering what's going to happen.
Hey, let them through.
Michael.
Mutti, you have kept us waiting for half an hour. Are you trying to give me heartburn? Mutti!
Mutti?
Where's the stone?
Okay.
Where is the stone? Where is the stone?
The non-diegetic music is still playing in the background. The clips then move scene to scene with a variety of edits showing all of the main characters. Most of these are wearing suits, which as we know is a traditional costume in gangster movies. This suggests these men are all in a gang. The clip returns to the men in the vault. This time they are all in suits. A diamond and a gun are both seen in this scene and are both props common with this genre. The diamond, as well as the disguises, suggest that they could have performed the robbery. This gives the audience a good idea that this is a big gang operation rather than just a small group. This is also supported by the previous scene, showing the different characters and their different roles. Finally, the colours to this opening scene are rather dark, and it's mainly greys and blacks used. This is enhanced by the dark tone to the lighting and together creates tension and maybe notifies the audience that this film is going to be violent and quite a dark toned throughout. The final opening scene is The Godfather. This opening scene contains key conventions that portray gangster films in a rather classic way. You'll probably have noticed by now that these opening scenes contain a lot of dialogue. This dialogue is very important as it can foreshadow events to come later on in the film. The only colours used in the opening scene to The Godfather is really only blacks, greys and whites, nothing too striking. This fits with the slow-paced, calm opening. For the next 3 minutes of the film, there is only one shot from the same angle, zooming out from a close-up of a man's face to an over-the-shoulder shot of another man, who is not yet revealed as the Godfather.
She went to the movies with him. She stayed out late. I didn't protest. 2 months ago, he took her for a drive with another boyfriend. They made her drink whiskey, and then they tried to take advantage of her. She resisted. She kept her honor. So they beat her like an animal. When I went to the hospital, her nose was broken. Her jaw was shattered, held together by wire. She couldn't even weep because of the pain. But I wept. Why?
The first man begins telling a story of his daughter being mistreated, which makes it obvious that he is trying to get help from the Godfather, who is already suggested to be an important and powerful figure through this man begging him for help. There is no music throughout the whole opening scene after the title, and as a result the scene is very quiet. This is suggesting that they do not want anyone to hear, adding to the secrecy and the tension of the scene. The Godfather is in shadow at this point, demonstrating the mysterious nature of his character. The lighting is also very low-key, creating many shadows, fitting with the theme of crime throughout the film, and also that this man clearly has a lot to hide. The man then walks out of the shot and then back into the shot next to the Godfather and whispers in his ear. They are both now in shadow, suggesting the mysterious and dangerous request that he has asked of the Godfather. It then cuts to a close-up of the front of the Godfather's face. This is the first time in the film his face has been revealed, and the dialogue now shifts from the first man to him. The focus is now on the Godfather. It then cuts to a long shot of the room, where he is in the centre of the frame and has 2 men in the room with him, as well as the first man. The mise-en-scene, with the support of these 2 men, suggests his superiority. He is clearly in charge. He also dresses very formal, he's in suit, and also the 2 men behind him are also in suit. This could foreshadow that they are in some sort of a gang. After this, it cuts to a mid-shot of the Godfather sitting down stroking a cat, given the impression that he is comfortable in this situation, reinforcing his superiority.
We've known each other many years, but this is the first time you ever came to me for counsel, for help. I can't remember the last time that you invited me to your house for a cup of coffee. Even though my wife is godmother to your only child. But let's be frank, you never wanted my friendship. And you were afraid to be in my debt.
I didn't want to get into trouble.
I understand. You found paradise in America. You had a good trade, made a good living, police protected you, and there were courts of law. But you didn't need a friend like me.
This also links him to the room, and with his opulent clothing and the room itself looking professional and expensive, it places him as a grander character. His calm tone of speaking and the laid-back actions also reinforce him being comfortable in this situation. He is clearly very powerful and is also not a stranger to the life of crime. The slow pace of editing also reinforces this calm and suggests the control he has over the situation. As the Godfather stands up, it cuts to a long shot of the room where the two other men also stand up and cross the room. This gives the impression of them rising to protect him in case of emergency, and therefore shows how important the Godfather is. It could also potentially be that because he has stood up, they have to also treat him with the respect, as he is extremely powerful and they cannot afford to be his enemy. The Godfather approaches the man in a slight low angle shot, reinforcing his dominance over the first man.
And then they will fear you.
Be my friend. Godfather.
Good. Someday, and that day may never come, I'll call upon you to do.
We have looked at all three opening scenes and looked at the codes and conventions in them. So thank you for watching, and bye.